Ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to this exciting show. Well, what a weekend. What a weekend is all I can say. It's been a full-on weekend. We have had so much on in this weekend. We had Gopia's mental health seminars, and what a great success that what Arpit put in such much effort, and it was wonderful to see the way it did turn out. We will show you all the glimpses of that in another show, but we'll show you a few little things from there today. But of course, then we had the International Language Day celebration with the Bangla school as well, and that went well, very well as well, and that big wedding in Gold Coast, all of those coming up very, very soon. But of course, the big news that's making it headlines today is the announcement of the hospital in Springfield. And of course, we know that our premier was there, and with that announcement today. So very soon we'll be joining her and see how it all fared there. So let's go to Springfield as soon as the stream starts, and it should start right about now.
It's wonderful to be out here in Springfield today, where our Cabinet will be meeting, and we will have a very significant health announcement, which I will get to in a moment. But in terms of our COVID numbers, great news today, 0 new cases, which is absolutely fantastic. We have 14 active cases at the moment. In the past 24 hours, we've had 1,794 tests, so that is great to see people are still going and getting tested. Well, today I'm joined with a number of significant people, and I'll be speaking to you very shortly, but it's great to be here with the Health Minister, the Treasurer, the local members, especially the member for Jordan, because Charisse covers this region. But as we know, this is a really fast-growing area of our state, especially around Springfield and Ripley. We've seen brand new schools open here in Springfield. I remember I opened a new school at Spring Mountain just recently, a couple of years ago. We've got new schools that have opened in Ripley. And I even think that because of the projected population increases, we will be considering additional schools over the next 4 years out here as well. Today also we're joined by Peter from Maha and Dr. Peter Steer, and also too we've got Maha and Raina and Bob here from Springfield City Group. So today we're announcing new beds. We're announcing a great new partnership with the Maha. Now, the Queensland Government has been partnering with the Maha since the Second World War, and we know that in a fast-growing community we need extra beds. So today I'm pleased to announce that as our first significant budget announcement, we will be investing in building 174 new beds in the public hospital here at Springfield. This will include, of course, emergency beds, and Yvette will go through the different areas that will be provided. But of course, maternity services are also needed out in this area. A lot of young families are moving here, and you can't blame them. It is a beautiful place to live, work and raise your family. So this commitment will include $177 million in the upcoming budget. The great news is that these beds will be delivered in the next 3.5 years, which is fantastic, and that's what we desperately need. And I'm very pleased that that partnering with Maha, that these beds will be delivered. But not only that, we have expansions of our hospitals happening in Ipswich, in Logan and Caboolture, and the majority of those beds will also be coming online around the same time as well. So around over 800 beds will be coming online in the next 4 to 5 years in Queensland, which is fantastic news. So the other great news, of course, is jobs. As part of our economic recovery plan, we want to see more jobs, and this will provide 700 jobs for the construction of this new hospital, which is just behind where our cameras are at the moment, which is absolutely fantastic. So fantastic news today. Very pleased that as part of our strong health response, we're getting on with our economic recovery plan, and we're looking to the future and making sure that we invest in health. And as I said in Parliament last week, we will have the biggest investment in our health budget as part of our budget that will be handed down in June by the Treasurer. But I'll hand over to Yvette to say a few words, then the Treasurer, and then we'll move on to other people. Okay, thank you. And of course, Maha.
Thank you, Premier. And this is really an exciting day. This partnership with Maha, which we've had a strong partnership over 4 decades between the state government and the Maha. What it means here locally, with 100,000 extra population expected in the next 5 years, is more beds. 174 public health beds. This will be 132 extra on top of the 42 public beds that already sit here at Maha Springfield that will move over into the new facility, creating extra capacity for the private sector as well. So we have growth in private sector capacity and also growth in the public health capacity. Not only will we have additional beds, but we'll have 33 spaces in emergency department. We'll have an intensive care unit.
So as we know, that is great news for Springfield, and of course there has been some talk going on for a while to make this happen, and now to see this all happening right now is just amazing news. And right now we'll hear actually from Dr. Maha as well.
Get on with this. So it's shovel ready, and we're very excited to deliver this as soon as possible for this community. Thank you.
Friends, thank you very much, Premier, for your contribution to have made this happen. Thank you also to the Minister for Health for your contribution, and also to the Treasurer and the Assistant Treasurer. I know I have been behind you all for a while because I'm strongly committed to creating a very unique community, and it's my obligation to fight for the community. So please put up if I had annoyed you in some way or the other, but I thank you all for having supported this project. This project, can I say that 22 minutes from here we are tapping into a population of 582,000 residents. 582,000, and this has got a tremendous, they can come here in 22 minutes. Of that, we've got about 2,500 mums who have their babies. And what a facility that you have provided, Premier, that they can come here. Maternity for Maha is one of the premium health provider. So we will enjoy, the mums will enjoy that, and so will their dads. In addition to that, we have 64,000 residents who will come to Springfield by the time this hospital opens, and they will be only 8 minutes away, Premier, to come to the hospital. What have you done? You have done an amazing thing. And in addition to that, we have got a strong support from Westmoreland Health and Metro South. Thanks very much for all your support. Thank you for what you have done, Premier. Thank you for what you have done, Treasurer. And thank you for what you have done, the Health Minister. Thanks very much.
Thank you. All right, we're happy to take some questions on this first.
How does this work? My private bills it and the state bed funds are running on?
Yes, and we've got the over 170 beds, and this is going to be fantastic because the Westmoreland region is one of the fastest growing regions in the state. So we've sat down, we've looked at the modelling, we know there's the need out here, and it's going to be done in 3.5 years. So just behind you will be exactly where the new buildings will be.
What's the construction?
So that is, once again, as I said before, great news, and well done, Dr. Maha for your persistence. As he mentioned there, that he stands up for the community, so the community's needs comes first, and of course he has done that. He's delivered that. We've got the rail that's gone there. Now there's extra beds for that hospital, and maternity for Maha, as he mentioned. There is just amazing news. Of course, it is all made possible by the support of the state government, and the Premier's support in all of this is greatly appreciated as well. So congratulations to everyone overall. I think this is a very good news. Not such a good news is 5 new cases in Victoria.
So there are 49 active cases of coronavirus in Victoria. Yesterday we recorded 5 new locally acquired cases. 2 were previously identified primary close contacts and have been quarantining throughout their infectious period. One is linked to an exposure site, and investigations are still underway to confirm the nature of the 2 remaining transmissions. One of these cases is a staff member at R-Care Maidstone, an aged care facility, and Jerome will speak to that further in a minute or so. But I do...
Yes, so of course the cases are linked to that HK1. Well, let's take a look at that report.
So we've officially reported 5 new cases today, all locally acquired. There are currently 54 active cases of coronavirus in Victoria. I can also advise that there are a further 6 locally acquired cases that came through after the late night cut-off, and our public health teams are urgently investigating and interviewing these cases. We'll have further details about those cases in the CHO release and in tomorrow's update, but any exposure sites will be posted on the website over the course of the day. So of the 5 cases formally reported today, 2 relate to the City of Wildersley outbreak. One is a contact of a previous case linked to the Star car wash, and one source of acquisition is still under investigation. We're now managing more than 4,200 primary close contacts across all of our exposure sites. We've also had 43,874 tests and 16,752 vaccine doses yesterday. There are a significant number of further exposure sites linked to the positive cases that have been published online overnight and this morning, including a number of Tier 1 settings, and Jerome will take you through those in a moment. I want to give a particular shout out to the thousands of staff running our testing and vaccine sites.
And of course, heads off to those ones who are running those testing sites, because there's a lot that needs to be done. And of course, they risk being in close contact with someone as well. But even then, they are there providing that service to them. Well, the Victorian government also has slammed the feds, the federal government, over the handling of this.
At the same time, though, Victorian workers need support, and that's where we needed Canberra to come to the table. And I'm very sorry to say that they have refused to do that. We asked multiple times of the federal government to support workers during this period, and the unrelenting answer has been no. Victorian workers deserve more from the federal government, and I am beyond disappointed that the answer from the Prime Minister and from the Treasurer has been no. To talk in further detail about the package and indeed the engagement that we have had, I've spoken to the Prime Minister, the Treasurer spoke to the Federal Treasurer on a number of occasions, but to speak to this package and our advocacy for all Victorian workers.
The Acting Premier is much more reserved in his language than I will be around the federal government's position on this. It is totally unsustainable. Essentially what the Commonwealth are saying, apart from all the rallying cries we hear, apart from all the speeches of encouragement and support, workers need tangible support from the Commonwealth, just as they're getting from this government. $250 million of assistance is going direct to business. Interestingly, the Andrews Labor government is putting $250 million, the biggest single pro rata allocation of any support fund this government or any other government has put in place. Now, you'll hear a lot from the federal government about the need for us to work in partnership. Well, they're not a silent partner. They like making speeches. I'll tell you what they're not. They're not a tangible partner.
So there you are, SP, that they are not a tangible partner, and as he mentioned that he would not mince his words like the acting Premier, but he would come out bluntly as he did. Well, let's go to the next news and hear from Bill Shorten his view.
Staff are working very hard at R-Care in Maidstone and Hampstead Road. They're doing a great job. As I understand, the second round of vaccinations will be happening today to the residents. The first round of vaccinations was on May the 12th. Interestingly, it wasn't scheduled for staff to be vaccinated then, but fortuitously there were 34 extra vaccines, so a range of the staff were vaccinated. But worryingly, both the staff member who has recorded positive and one resident, possibly two, but one resident appears to have contracted COVID, were both vaccinated in the first round. So it just emphasises to me, and I think to everyone listening, that 2 vaccinations is what we need. And when I hear the federal government saying 1 vaccination somehow a goal, well, as I understand it, it's only, second-hand reports from the facility, but the people who are sick actually had a vaccination. So you need 2. 1 is not enough.
So just confirming, based on your information, 1 resident, possibly 2, also now infected there?
Possibly, yes.
And of course, we know that we need to have the second vaccination as well, not just part A. So of course, it is very, very important that, but there are waiting periods and some protocols and rules that also need to be followed. Well, of course, everyone's talking about what's happening. People are talking about the economy, what's going to happen. What would the long-term impact be? See, this is what we really need to look at. Is this what is happening now will have ripple effects. It will have effects further down the track as well. So one of the things that's happening is now we have a lack of immigration. Where will it lead to?
Apart from the ones about vaccinations and COVID cases, this could be the most important economic and investment chart of all at the moment. And that's because the key issue for investors is inflation. Is it happening or not? And the fact that firms are refusing to pay higher wages, even though they can't get staff, is a big change to the way the world works. If that goes back to normal, so that a tight labour market once again leads to inflation, then interest rates will rise earlier than expected and markets will fall, possibly crash. If not, and this strong economic recovery continues to be accompanied by stable prices, then it's happy days. Inflation is starting to rise, but central banks think it's temporary. Last week, the US Bureau of Labour Statistics reported that American inflation had shot up to 4.2%. At this point in Australia, inflation remains low. But that's about to change because of what's known as the base effect. The Consumer Price Index fell last June, so that this June it's coming off a low base. Analysts reckon the next inflation rate in Australia will be 3.7%, maybe more. Companies around the world are reporting that they're seeing supply bottlenecks and rising prices. The other factor in Australia is the collapse in migration, which is improving workers' bargaining power since employers can't simply bring people in from overseas to replace them. Personally, I'd like to see inflation stay at 1% or so. In fact, price rises of 0 are fine with me, but central banks are obsessed with getting it up to between 2 and 3%. Why? Well, because if prices are rising, consumers tend to buy now rather than wait. And also because inflation tends to reduce the burden of debt. And debt is something we've got plenty of right now. The problem for investors is that the record of central banks in finessing economic outcomes is not great. Things have a habit of getting away from them.
Yes, they are, and that outlook is not very good at all. Well, hands up who likes Milo. Well, it's been a household name not only here in Australia, in the Pacific region, very, very well known, but the factory in Smithtown has turned 100 years.
Machinery whirs with industrial rhythm. Tins are filled and sealed, ready to be packed and dispatched to supermarkets across the country and beyond. Milo might be Smithtown's claim to fame, but people are at the heart of this place.
Well, I've worked here for 43 years. My grandfather, my father, and now my son works here.
The Nestlé factory is 100 this year, established in what was a milk processing plant. It went on to produce Milo, a powdered chocolate and malt drink created during the Great Depression that became one of Australia's most enduring brands. The factory produces a range of Nestlé products, and some might say Janelle Cook has the best job in the house.
So we'll taste 2 samples and one will be different. So we'll do some triangles, we'll taste 2, so we're keeping quality and make sure it's up to standard.
Jeffrey Rowe has seen plenty of changes in his time at the factory.
When I first started, we used to make our own cans, everything here.
While time and technology marches on, it seems the plant is on solid ground. The Nestle factory has become synonymous with the Smithtown community, employing more than 200 people, most of them locals. And there's no sign of the company pulling out of the town anytime soon.
The Milo manufacturing equipment's, approaching 70 years old, and it's time to refresh it and rejuvenate it. So that's what we're doing, and it's certainly a vote of confidence in the site and the team here.
A little town doing big things with an eye on the next 100 years. Keely Johnson, ABC.
And of course, that's a wonderful story there. Turning 100, it's amazing, and becoming a household name and being sustained through tough and trying times as well, and being there. Well, right now, when we're talking about all these cases, let's go overseas right now. Thailand has also recorded a surge.
When Kunlasub Watanapon came down with COVID-19 symptoms, he quarantined at home and called the Thai government's coronavirus hotlines for advice. The well-known video gamer known as Up was too sick to leave the house for a test, but without one, Bangkok's overwhelmed hospital system wouldn't help. Becoming desperate, he made this plea.
I either can't reach the hospitals or they won't accept me. The emergency hotline doesn't help me. I don't have hope, but I'm asking if anyone can help.
Up had no transport to get to a testing site and no health insurance to cover an ambulance. Problems for many of Thailand's low-income earners.
Do you know what shocked me? A health officer told me get public transport to do the test. I'm trying to avoid spreading the virus.
After the 34-year-old diabetic's video was shared widely, a Bangkok hospital admitted him, but he died 2 days later. Now his family's suing Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha and others, claiming the government's mismanagement of testing led to Up's death.
When he called for help, you could not help. You made people wait. The outbreak happened during that waiting. This was the mistake which led us to sue the government.
Up's brother's also determined to prevent other families suffering the same pain. He's helped set up a volunteer shuttle service, which has already assisted 1,000 people.
The main mission is sending a vehicle to pick up COVID-infected people so they don't have to take a taxi, to avoid the virus spreading, and to get them to hospital in time.
Since Up's death, the government says it's improved its COVID test booking system and has plenty of hospital beds. But daily case numbers are still pushing 3,000, with tightly packed communities and crowded prisons seeing the most infections.
Bangkok is Thailand's main coronavirus hotspot, so vaccinations here are the priority. After a slow start, healthcare workers and volunteers...
And the vaccination is a priority there, as you can see, the number of people and all the crowds that are there as well. So hopefully they get this second surge under control. Right now it's time to take a commercial break.
GlobeNet Realty. GlobeNet Realty has been the longest established, trusted and respected agency in its trade area. Washa Chandra, Director of GlobeNet Realty, provides honest and ethical service to her customers. If you are thinking of investing in Brisbane real estate market, or if you are seeking professional property management, then you should contact Usha Chandra today on landline 3865 4466 or mobile 0419 775 416. And for further updates, log on to our website www.globenetralty.com.au. GlobeNet Realty is your own local real estate agency. Situated at Shop 52281 Sandgate Road, Boondall. GlobeNet Realty. Real estate is our world.
And of course, don't forget that on Wednesday, we have the real estate update with Usa Chandra right here on this channel. And right now, we are going to take you to Gold Coast and to this grand wedding of Thusar and Ajitha. I'll show you some glimpses of the event in today's show, because there was so much that took place all over the weekend, and some of the other ones we will show on different days. So, let's start off with what happened there over the weekend. So, the grand entrance that everyone made. The bride's brother and the groom's sister. And making that grand entry there as well. Well, right now, let's welcome the groom's parents. Yes, in style, all the way from Christchurch in Australia. I mean, in New Zealand. To Australia, of course, to Gold Coast. And right now, he's Amit and Sulaknabasu. And you've got to wait for this. Well, here we go.
So
गिलाफ नाली हाफ ठंडी हवा के खिलाफ ससुरी ना गिलाफ नाली हाफ ठंडी हवा के खिलाफ ससुरी मुझे सर्दी है किसी का लिहाफ ले ले हो जा पड़ोसी के चूल्हे से आग ले ले हो जा पड़ोसी के चूल्हे से आग ले ले
भीड़ी जलाइला जिगर से पिया जिगर में बड़ी आग भीड़ी जलाइला जिगर से पिया जिगर में बड़ी आग हवा दानी कारी बोलर से दिया हवा दानी कारी बोलर से दिया जे दुनिया बड़ी भंग भीड़ी जलेला जिगर से पिया जिगर में बड़ी आग है नदी हाफ ठंडी हवा के खिलाफ ससुरी होती सर्दी है किसी काली आग लगी
What do you reckon? That's a wonderful wedding. We'll show you more glimpses maybe tomorrow of all other things that happened in the weekend. But as right now, that this is an amazing venue at the Sheraton Grand Mirage in Gold Coast. And of course, DJ Desi doing the sound there, and everything, the way it was done and managed was just amazing. It was very, very, very well done. Well, right now, let's take a look at functions and events taking place right here in Brisbane.
ना कसूर ना हुजूर बिना जुर्म का हुजूर मर गए
ऐसे एक दिन दोपहरी बुलाए लियो रे बात घुंघरू कचहरी लगाए लियो रे बुलाए लियो रे लगाए लियो रे दोपहरी लगाए लियो रे कचहरी अंगीरी चढ़ाइला जिगर से पिया जिगर माँ अंगीरी चढ़ाइला जिगर से पिया जिगर माँ बड़ी आग है
होता तो चक्कुओं की धार होता तो रत्ती ना कटा होता तो चक्कुओं की धार रत्ती ना कटा रस काट के दांत का घर निशान छोड़ दे हो से काटे तो कोई भी किसान छोड़ दे हो से जालिम का छोड़ दे मकान जोड़ दे रे लो जालिम का छोड़ दे मकान जोड़ दे रे से जालिम का हो से जालिम का हो से जालिम का छोड़ दे मकान जोड़ दे
And that backing track there is by Payal Pandya and Alpesh, of the Brisbane Brothers Band in one of the older recordings that was there. Well, right now, let's see if we can, get a glimpse of what actually happened at that seminar, the mental health seminar, and of course, we had the play that was happening there as well.
Gonna feed Spike.
Darling, no.
No?
No.
Is Jenna calling today?
She just... yes, dear. I can't wait till she gets here.
Yeah.
Hey Sam, how's Rashida?
She's fine.
Oh my gosh, we haven't hung out together in ages.
Oh, I've been busy, work and things.
Oh, so you've been really busy at work, have you?
Yeah, it's all the stuff and yeah.
So, Sam, how's Rashida?
Look, I don't want to talk about it, alright?
Right, some wine?
Actually, no. Thanks, none for me. New meds.
Oh, and how's that going?
It's okay.
So there's a glimpse of the stage item that happened there. Well, of course, if you'd like to, if you have not already watched the live coverage, it is on our Facebook page, on our YouTube channel as well, the full version of that, unedited, of course. We will, of course, might be putting on the edited version with cutting out some of the areas where there might be some pauses or some gaps. That's all, but there's no editing required because it was such a big and beautiful event. Very well done by Copia Queensland, and of course the reviews that have come out have been very good, and if you haven't watched it, you can go and watch at your leisure on Australian Indian Radio's Facebook page, and of course on our YouTube channel as well. So until tomorrow, it's goodbye from me. Remain safe and have a wonderful day.